about this hand. Some of you have heard of it. L. Ron Hubbard shook that hand. Elvis Presley shook that hand. And that's my talk. Elvis said when he shook my hand, "Franklin, your needle's floating." It doesn't sound like Elvis. Okay, forget that. I want to tell you my experience in Scientology, how I got into it. I was a dealer in Las Vegas, and I smoked a lot of grass. You just revealed yourself. And one night I was off, had a day off. I was very zonked, whatever. And one of my roommates was getting audited. And the reason he was getting audited was because he smoked grass and got keyed in all the time when he smoked grass. And I swear to you, he found these people because his goal was to smoke grass without getting stimulated. So, I was having some problems, and I said, "Listen, what's happening over there? What is Seinfeld?" And he used some words that I went, what the hell are you talking about? Just bring me home a book. So it took about 3 weeks for me to get this book brought home. Anyway, I was off that night, and I went up. We had these incredible stereos, and we used to swap jazz albums. You know, anyone who smoked grass listened to jazz. Anyway, I go up to his room, and I get some albums, and I go to leave his room, and I see this little black book. It just drew me. And I sat down, and I put the records down, I sat down on the bed, and I just thumbed open this book, picked it up, thumbed it open, and it said, "The Factors." And I read the first 3, and my being zonked disappeared. And I remembered. I just remembered a lot of things, and who I am. It was incredible. The next day I ran down, had my checkbook, and he opened the door. Alan Caprio was his name. Some of you may have known him. And his wife, Virginia, and I saw her sitting at the table, and I went right past down and I said, "I don't know what auditing is, but you are going to give me some." And she told me later that she went about 10 miles back of her head. I'm so fortunate to have had her for my first auditor. She had her act together. I miss them, both of them. Anyway, so I got a few sessions and had some cobs, and I said, "Wow, I got to be one of these auditors." And I brought this up in a session, and I said, "Can I become what he called?" She said, "An auditor?" And I go, "Yeah." Because I thought sitting on my butt and getting paid was for me. I was tired of the Las Vegas scene. So anyway, she's perfect PR for us. She said, "You can be an auditor. How about if we talk about it after the session?" I go, "Great." She said, "Thank you. I'll give you the command again." Boom. So she told me, she said, "You can go to LA and train. Come back." She said, "We think you're great. You work with us." I said, "Done." I go in and get 2, 3, 4 more sessions. Blowing my mind. I said after session, "Where is this really happening? Where can I go? Where's Ron?" She said, "Well, that's in England." I said, "I'm going there after my auditing." So by the time I got in, 3 months, I was in England on the briefing course. Doing the class 6, it was one of the best times of my existence. he used to walk around with his cravat, his camera, his tripod. I remember we were doing, someone was coaching me on the drills of level 1. And we were going back and forth between the two buildings, look at that wall. And boom, there was Ron, appeared. He has a way to do appear and disappear. And he said, and this girl was like, she was grabbing my crotch, and I couldn't stop laughing. And all of a sudden he came and said, hey, what's going on over here? And we went, we're doing some drills, sir. He said, well, I'm taking pictures. Carry on with your drills, I'm going to take some more pictures. And it was amazing. He was like infinitely huge. It was quite an experience because you could see him talk. That was 1965. And then I stayed and did the clearing course. But my real love was training because I realized early on that that's the data. Getting audited is wonderful, as we all know. But getting the data and getting audited is the ideal scene. And I had so much fun being on the briefing course. Then I got off and finished the clearing course, went clear. There's a gentleman who's going to talk to you today. He's a lovely man. And I kid with him because he was clear number 2. John Berger back there. I was kidding him because I've just reestablished contact with him since 1966, and he's here. And I kid him, I say, you were clear number 3. He says, no, I was clear number 2. So I've been having fun with that. Anyway, so I went back to Vegas, and this couple, they followed me, and they did the briefing course. And they came back with me. And we got an apartment, and there was like 40 people in Las Vegas waiting for us to come back to audit them. All I did was sit there and audit 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Trey, he knows about that. It was incredible. And then I joined the Sea Org. Don't be mad at me. I went to the ship, and I really didn't like it, but I was a rebel. You know, I was always in trouble. All of a sudden, the Class A course comes, and I unfortunately was able to take it under the LRH. What was so cool is that you audited somebody. He was the CS, the only CS. So while you were getting the Class A data to be a Class A auditor, you were being trained as a CS at the same time. I never hear anybody talk about that, but that's what was happening. You were getting trained as an auditor and trained as a CS by Ron, because he was a CS. And then I got sent to AOLA, and I was supposed to learn to be a CS. I mean, you know, be hatted up with experience and be a CS there. And the guy who was the CS there, he blew. And here I am, I was left with doing all the CSing at AOLA. I CS anybody who was in trouble, review CSing. Anybody in the OT levels. The Class A course was established there, so there were students on each other. I CS them. I was very busy. And I loved it. In fact, for my bio, and I only realized this when I wondered what I was going to talk about here. I made at least 100 clears that year, real clears. It was incredible. In fact, Captain Bill was sent on mission, and he was running New York when it was booming, and all these clears were being made. Anyway, I have probably audited and CS several thousand hours. In fact, I've done the tech for 45 years and nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on you.
And I'm not ready to retire.